What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now, I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we are on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 20 picks right like me, win more bets, and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be a link down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $3,300 just yesterday. Another member who won $125 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to William Williams 8476 who said steady getting it. So shouts out to him. Shouts out to Ricardo Gioza who said let's go, let's cash out. And then shouts out to Jay the Goat 5872 who said first. So shouts out to them. And if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to talk about is Gary Payton II, and this one is for 8 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, as you all know, Gary Payton II, great player for none other than the Golden State Warriors, and we have actually seen him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games, with 2 of them being a push. Now, looking at those 5 games, we do see on April 27th faced off against Houston where he had 16 points there. Then April 29th against Houston again had 2 points. After that, May 1st, Houston again had 8 points in that matchup. Moving on into the next game, which was actually May 3rd, which was game 7, he had 5 points. And then in game 1, actually in, Minnesota, or yeah, pretty much that, we do see that he did get 8 points in that matchup. So we actually have seen him go on the under in actually, 4 out of the last 5, like we mentioned. And then 2 of those games, he did actually go on the under. Now looking at this, his average over the last 5 is also 7.8, so significantly below this line. Now, looking at this matchup, it is going to be a very exciting game. Now, it is the only game for today. Now, it is only Golden State Warriors versus Minnesota Timberwolves, so there will be a lot of picks from this game. But looking at Golden State Warriors and also Minnesota, right now, the series is up by Warriors 1-0. They had a great game 1, did a fantastic job. Now they're moving on into game 2. And looking at where both these teams do rank, we did see the Timberwolves rank 6th in the Western Conference with a record of 49-33. So they did a fantastic job there, 59.8% win percentage. And then they face off against the Golden State Warriors. Now, the Golden State Warriors did have a record of 48-34, a 58.5% win percentage as well. And on top of that, we also do see that, Timberwolves is 6th, Warriors are 7th, and both of these teams actually beat the higher seed teams in the first round. So we actually saw Timberwolves knock out the Los Angeles Lakers. They did a great job. Lakers were ranked 3rd, and then also Golden State Warriors ranked out the 2nd seed, which were the Houston Rockets. So it was definitely a very good series. Now, obviously, coming into this next game, we are also expecting Steph Curry to be out. It is most likely he's going to be out. Nothing has been set in stone just as of yet, but he did suffer a strain in his hamstring, so it is most likely that he's going to be out for this game. Now, looking at, Minnesota and where they do rank points-wise, we do see that the Minnesota Timberwolves did rank 5th when it comes to points allowed. So they rank very high, and for that reason we do very much like the under for this situation here. I know a lot of people may be thinking, obviously, with someone like Gary Payton out, we could actually see someone like GP get a little bit more usage rate out there. However, we do still see him going on the under due to the fact that when we look at someone like Gary Payton, he doesn't really have that high of a usage rate in the points department. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation situation here. We definitely see someone like Gary Payton II going on the under, as we are thinking or are assuming that other players will actually take a lot more of the usage rate away from him. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, obviously, looking at this matchup as well, Minnesota also do a fantastic job at restricting points from the guards. So we definitely see that being a big case there. But looking at actually Gary Payton II and his matchups against Timberwolves throughout the regular season, we definitely have seen some interesting times. Now, we did actually see that Gary Payton II did face off against them on the 6th of December. So it was definitely a big game. He actually had only 1 point in that matchup. So in 17 minutes of play, 1 point was, pretty much nothing. Next game, face off against each other on the 8th of December, where he had 8 points in that matchup. So obviously did actually, I would say tied with his line. And then moving on from that, played again in that same month on the 21st. In that matchup, we actually saw him have 7 points. And then on the 15th of January, we actually saw him have 7 points there. So because of that, we do very much like the under for this situation here. When we look at all 5 of the games, we do actually see that he has gone on the under in all 5, in 3 out of those, 4 games. So we definitely see that being a big thing why we do like the under for it. Now, obviously, looking at this matchup as well, what we also do see is that Gary Payton II, even when he does play a lot of minutes, his usage rate out there on the points and actually getting shots up isn't really that much. Okay, he is more of a defender for this team, and that's why we do very much like the under for this situation here. So for that reason, we are definitely sticking to the under for this situation. So Gary Payton II, keep an eye out for his line. So Gary Payton II, 8 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So getting into the second pick, we're going to be talking about none other than Draymond Green. So as you all know, Draymond Green, great player, and this one is for 6.5 rebounds, and this one actually is for less. So like I mentioned before, guys, all the picks are going to be from this game because this is the only game in the NBA. But looking at Draymond Green, this one's a fantastic one. We actually did see him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, you see on April 29th, faced off against Houston, where he had 8 rebounds there. Then May 1st, had 1 rebound. May 3rd against Houston, had 5 rebounds. Then Game 7, had 6 rebounds on May 5th. Then against Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 1 on May 7th, we actually saw him have 8 rebounds there. Now, when we look at someone like Draymond Green, he is a fantastic player, but we are expecting the under for this situation here. Now, looking at Draymond Green, we actually do see over the last 5 games, he has actually averaged 5.6. So that is, significantly below this line. So like we mentioned before, Golden State Warriors faced off against Minnesota. Don't really need to go through the rankings again. You guys heard it in the first one, 6th for Timberwolves, 7th in Warriors. So just a quick recap there. But obviously, Warriors and also Minnesota are going to be a great matchup. But looking at Minnesota Timberwolves, we do see that they rank 8th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So, when it comes to Minnesota, they are a very good rebounding team. And not only that, but Minnesota Timberwolves actually do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds to the forward position. So we definitely see someone like Draymond Green going on the under in this situation here. We definitely see him going on the under due to the fact that Minnesota definitely are going to be playing a lot of their bigs, whether it's Gobert, whether it's Nas Reed, and we are expecting Draymond to have a little bit of trouble there. Now, obviously, Draymond did go over in that Game 1, but like I always mention, guys, when it comes to Game 1s, it is a very unpredictable game because teams are coming up with strategies, and, it is definitely going to adjust as the series goes on. So, that first game is always an unexpected game. You can definitely see things that are unexpected happen, and we definitely did see that in Game 1, but we should see him actually go on the under in this situation here. We are expecting Minnesota to come out with a very different strategy, and because of that, we could see it restrict Draymond Green greatly in the rebounding department. Now, on top of this, we also have seen, throughout the whole series against Houston, we actually have seen Draymond's rebounding kind of usage rate fall quite a bit. Nothing really too major, but we have have seen a lot of the others in Warriors start to really rely on getting rebounds themselves as well. They aren't just relying on Draymond. They aren't just relying on whoever's running center at the time, whether it's Draymond or someone else. So, for that reason, it's definitely taking away a little bit of usage rate from Draymond Green there. Now, looking at Draymond, especially against Timberwolves during the regular season, we did see them play each other on the 6th of December. Draymond was available in that game. He actually had 9 rebounds in that matchup. So, he did a really, really good job in that matchup. And then on the 8th of December, actually had 6 rebounds in that one. So, we actually saw him go on the under in one of them, go on the over in the other. But in this time, we are expecting the under for this situation here, especially since it is a playoff game. We are expecting definitely a lot more intensity coming into this next matchup, no doubt about it. So keep an eye for Draymond Green's line. We see a lot of value there to go on the under. The Draymond Green, 6.5 rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So getting to the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Anthony Edwards. So as you all know, Anthony Edwards had a little bit of a cold game 1, but we should see him try to bounce back in this one. Now this one is for rebounds as well for 7.5. And this one actually is for less. Now looking at AE or Anthony Edwards, we have seen him go in the under in 1 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, we see on April 23rd, faced off against LA where he had 6 rebounds there. Then after that, faced off again on April 26th where he had 8 rebounds in that matchup. Then April 28th had 9 rebounds. On May 1st had 11 rebounds. And then on May 7th had 14 rebounds. So we actually saw him do a fantastic job in that matchup. It was against Golden State Warriors on May 7th as well. So he did have a big rebounding game, no doubt about it. But looking at the matchup, obviously Minnesota face off against Golden State Warriors in game 2. It's definitely going to be an exciting game, no doubt about it. But looking at this matchup and just quickly reiterating the rankings, Timberwolves have a record 49-33, 59.8% win percentage, and ranked 6th. And then the Golden State Warriors ranked 7th with a 48-34 record and a 58.5% win percentage. So they did a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at Anthony Edwards, we do very much like the under for this situation due to the fact that when we look at Golden State Warriors, we actually do see that they rank 15th in rebounds allowed. So they rank pretty mid-tier. However, Golden State Warriors actually do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds to the guard position. So we definitely see someone like Anthony Edwards going on the under here. When it comes to AE, yes, he is a fantastic player. And yes, he does have a high usage rate. But we should see him a lot more focusing on points in this next matchup as they did lose game 1. Like I always mentioned, game 1s can be full of surprises, and we definitely saw that in that game 1. We should see Anthony Edwards' usage rate fall a little bit in rebounds, him focusing on other things, such as scoring and playmaking, as they are trying to get this win in game 2. But on top of that, also Warriors defense is definitely going to restrict his rebounding greatly, so we definitely see that affecting it as well. Now, looking at Anthony Edwards actually against Golden State Warriors over this year, or last year as well, but this season as a whole, we actually saw on the 6th of December, we actually saw him have 4 rebounds in that matchup. Then on the 8th of December had 5 rebounds. After that, on the 21st of December also had 7 rebounds, and then on the 15th of January when they played again, we actually saw him have 8 rebounds in that matchup. So he did go on the under in 3 out of those 4 games. So that was honestly huge for us. Yes, in the most recent game, or in game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals, we did definitely see him get a bunch of rebounds, but we should see that change coming in game 2. So we should see him come back down to reality in this one. When you look at what the bookies are saying, the bookies also have a favorite for the under as well. So that works out in our favor there. So Anthony Edwards, 7.5 rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is Nas Reed. So Nas is a great player for the Minnesota Timberwolves, as we all know, and he's done a fantastic job for this Minnesota Timberwolves team, because during the regular season, he actually averaged 14.2 points, 6 rebounds, 2.3 assists, while also shooting 46 46.2% from the field. So he did a fantastic job there. Now looking at actually Nas Reed and the matchup, this obviously is a very, very good matchup and an exciting series so far. Now he did actually rank 68th in points, 49th in rebounds, 110th in assists, and also 72nd in field goal percentage. So he did a fantastic job there. Now heading back into the matchup, as we all know, this is going to be the only game for today, guys. So obviously there is a bit of overlap with these players, but obviously Warriors and Timberwolves. Now we have already touched on this, but just to quickly rebrief you, obviously Minnesota Timberwolves have a record 49-33, 59.8% win percentage. And then you also have the Golden State Warriors on the other side of things, who did rank 7th and actually had a 48-34 record, a 58.5% win percentage there. So they did a fantastic job for both of these teams because they actually knocked out the second and third, ranking team. So Warriors knocked out Houston Rockets in a very, very hard fought series to game 7. And then Minnesota Timberwolves also knocked out the Los Angeles Lakers, who were ranked third. So, definitely both of these teams were underdogs in their actual, sort of game. However, they were able to get it done. So both of these teams, Golden State Warriors, do lead 1-0, but heading into this next game, as we all know, Stephen Curry will be out. Now, looking at Golden State Warriors again, when it comes to points, rebounds, and assists allowed, we see that they rank 8th in points. Also, coming into assists, they do rank 10th, and then rebounds allowed, they also do rank 15th. So when it comes to someone like Nas Reed, we do actually very much like the under for this situation here for all three categories. Now, a big reason being for this is that not only is Golden State Warriors done a fantastic job, defensively in all three departments, but Golden State Warriors actually do a fantastic job against role players, especially, when it comes to this series and the playoffs so far. We have actually seen the Golden State Warriors do a fantastic job against bench players, and we are expecting that coming into this next game. Now, Nas Reed tends to play that 6-man position, which is great to see. However, we do actually see him going on the under in this situation here. When we look at someone like Nas Reed as well, he is a center. And what we have seen is that Warriors do a fantastic job against centers, especially for the second unit. So they actually do a great job there. The second unit that Warriors tend to run isn't really a second unit. They like to mix a bit of the starters with that second unit. So that's why their defense remains very, very strong, and we do actually see Nas Reed struggling there. Now, don't get me wrong, Nas Reed is a great player, and yes, he will have these moments during this series, but we think in this game too, there will be adjustments on both sides that could actually affect Nas Reed and have him go on the under in this situation here. Now, looking at Nas Reed and how he has done over the last 5 games as of recent, now looking at his older series against Los Angeles Lakers, we actually saw in game 2, he actually had 9 points, 1 assist, and 2 rebounds, which was fantastic. Then in game 3, we actually saw him do a pretty decent job. He had 11 points, 6 rebounds, 0 assists in that, and won 116-104. Then in game 4, won again with a 116-113 victory, where he had 12 points, 2 assists, and 4 rebounds there. Then moving into game 5, a 103-96 win to seal the deal and move them on to the next round. He actually had 3 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds there. So we did see them do a fantastic job. Now, when we actually look at, the Golden State Warriors game in game 1, we saw them lose 99-88. But Nas Reed did have 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist. So he actually did fantastic during that game. He did go over on his points, but he did go on the under in rebounds and also in assists. So he did get a little bit lucky when it came to, him being able to score a little bit better. He did have a great shooting night. He shot 57% from the field on that night. So he did have one of those games, and yes, those games will happen. But we think in this game too, it definitely can change. And the fact that he did go on the under in 2 out of those 3 categories, it definitely does give a good sign to us on why we do like the under. And we do believe Golden State Warriors defense is definitely going to be a problem for him. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here for someone like Nas Reed. So getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Cavon Looney. So as you all know, Cavon Looney, great player for none other than the Golden State Warriors. And when we look at Cavon Looney, we have actually seen him do a fantastic job so far this season, because he's actually averaged 4.5 points, 6.1 rebounds, 1.6 assists, while also shooting 51.4% from the field. So when we look at someone like Cavon Looney, it's definitely going to be an exciting matchup between him and the Timberwolves. Now we saw Looney actually rank 150th plus in points, 45th in rebounds, and also 150th in assists. So he did a decent job. Obviously, he didn't get that big of minutes during the regular season, but we definitely have seen him play some crucial minutes so far in just the playoffs in general, not just in this series. But obviously, we do know Warriors face off against Timberwolves, and Warriors are going to be without Steph Curry. Now, they currently do lead 1-0 in this series, but looking at actually Timberwolves and where they actually do rank, we do see Minnesota Timberwolves rank 5th in points allowed. When it comes to assists allowed, we see a rank 5th, and then rebounds allowed, we also see them rank 8th. So, Cavon Looney is actually, a very good player. Now, when it comes to Cavon Looney, we do actually still like the under for this situation here. Now, when we look at Minnesota, like we mentioned, Minnesota are a fantastic, defensive team. They do a great job in all main categories, and Cavon Looney doesn't really have that high of a usage rate at times. It's definitely been tough here and there. Now, when we look at Cavon Looney, we actually do see that his usage rate is really dependent on on pretty much, what's really Timberwolves going to be giving them. Steve Kerr really likes to switch up the matchups, and that's what we are expecting in this next game as well. So Cavon Looney may not get the same amount of minutes every single game, and that's why we do think the under is definitely more likely for this one. Now, when we look at Cavon Looney and also his games, especially in the first round, we saw in a matchup against Houston Rockets in Game 4, he actually had a great game in that matchup, but he had only 5 minutes and he only had 1 rebound in that game. But overall, the team played well. They did get the win, 109-106. Then in Game 5, he only had 2 points and 3 rebounds with a 131-116 loss where he played 11 minutes there. Then in Game 6, we actually saw him have 2 personal fouls and 2 rebounds where they lost 115-107. Then in Game 7, played 11 minutes of crucial, offense and defense, and he had 3 points and also 4 rebounds and 0 assists there. Now moving on to Game 1, we actually saw him have 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 points and 0 assists there in Game 1, had a 99-88 victory, but we have definitely seen him go on the under pretty much on his line really consistently. And a big reason for this is that when Looney's out there, his main job is just to play defense and pretty much to guard Rudy Gobert, as we are expecting this series. As he did in the last series, his main job was just to guard Schengen and also Steven Adams. So we definitely see that being the case here. Looney isn't really a type of player to get stats and to get, a lot of stats at that. We should actually see him go on the under more in this situation here, due to the fact that when we look at Cavon Looney as well, his usage rate may be definitely a little bit more unpredictable coming into this next matchup. So, like I mentioned, Looney's minutes are definitely not very guaranteed. One game he can play 10 minutes, the next game he can play 2, and that's why we do think an under is more likely for this one, especially with them without Curry. We could see a lot of different sort of, matchup switches and a lot of different kind of rotations from this Warriors team, especially with the way Steve Kerr likes to coach. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under for this one for Cavon Looney. I see a lot of value there in all 3 values to go on the under. So keep an eye out for the line. If the line is too close to his averages, then definitely look to go on the under. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than Jaden McDaniels. So as you all know, Jaden McDaniels, great player, and we all do know that Jaden McDaniels has done a fantastic job all season. Now, he's actually averaged 12.2 points, 5.7 rebounds, 2 assists, while also shooting 47.7% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like, Jaden McDaniels as well, we do see that he ranked 93rd in points, 55th in rebounds, 127th in assists, and then 50th in field goal percentage. So he's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, looking at someone like, Jaden McDaniels as well, we do see that he has played a big role so far in the playoffs. So he's definitely had some good minutes. Now, Jaden McDaniels and the Timberwolves face off against the Warriors, as we all know. Now, this one's an interesting one because we do actually see that, the Minnesota Timberwolves and Warriors matchup is definitely going to be an exciting one at Timberwolves home. But looking at Golden State Warriors, once again, defensively, we see that Warriors do rank 8th in points allowed. When it comes to assists allowed, they do rank 10th, and then rebounds allowed, they do rank 15th. Now, when it comes to someone like Jaden McDaniels, because of this, we do very much like the under for this situation here. When it comes to Jaden McDaniels, yes, he is a great player, but the Golden State Warriors actually do a fantastic job, especially against the power forward position. Now, Jaden McDaniels also still plays at times a small forward position, so we took that into account, but we also do see that the Warriors actually do a great job against the small forwards as well. So we don't really see it working out in Jaden McDaniels' favor, I'd say, and that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, Warriors have become a very good defensive team, especially ever since acquiring someone like Jimmy Butler. It's definitely not only just led the charge, but it's definitely just affected who he's actually defending at the time. Now, obviously, he may be on Anthony Edwards in this matchup, but the Golden State Warriors have so many other great defenders, Kuminga, Gary Payton II, other players like that. So we are still expecting a lot of the defensive pressure to be on Jaden McDaniels and stop him as soon as possible. Now, McDaniels, although he is a great defender, he doesn't really have that high of a usage rate in any of these departments. He tends to play more of that role-playing type role. So we are expecting other players like Anthony Edwards, like also, players like Dante DiVincenzo and even Rudy Gobert, and Julius Randle as well, to have a little bit more usage rate than someone like McDaniels, and that's why we do very much like the under for this one. Now, looking at McDaniels as well, we do see, in game 2 of the first round against LA Lakers, where they had lost 94-85, we saw him have 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist there. After that, moving on into game 3, we actually saw him have a pretty decent game in that one, 30 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist there. After that, game 4 had 16 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists, in a 116-113 win. Then in game 5, had a 103-96 win with 8 points, 3 rebounds. And then in game 1 the Golden State Warriors had 99-88 with 12 points, 1 assist, and 4 rebounds there. So we definitely saw him do a fantastic job. Now, obviously, looking at someone like Jaden McDaniels, although he is a great player, he's definitely been on the lower end throughout this whole playoff series. Yes, he does have his big games here and there, but overall, we should see an under for this situation here due to the situation where, we do see other star players taking a little bit more of the usage rate away from him. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one. Keep an eye for Jaden McDaniels' line. We do see a lot of value to go on the under there.